Today, the most commonly used diagnostic test for TB detects only half of all cases. But coming along, we now have an LED microscope that can detect 65% of cases and allows diagnoses to be made 3 times as fast as before. Today, the most commonly used diagnostic test for XDR-TB takes 6 weeks. But now we have a much better test, one that will give results in the same day. If we use slow diagnostics, patients go on infecting family members for weeks. If we get same-day diagnosis, you can begin treatment immediately and reduce new infections. Quicker, more accurate diagnoses can make a big impact against the combination of HIV and TB. People who have HIV are more likely to get active TB, and TB is the leading cause of death for people with AIDS. If we can diagnose and treat TB in people with AIDS, we get them many more years of life to support their families, raise their children, and take care of their parents. Today, the most commonly used medicines come in the form of loose pills, and patients have to take as many as 13 pills a day. But we have fixed-dose combinations which can bring the pill burden down from 13 to just 4 or even 3 or 2. That would make it far easier for patients to complete their full course of treatment, curing the disease and reducing transmission. In coming years, we should be able to replace the current tests and treatment with these new approaches. Within the next few years, we're likely to see a nucleic acid-based diagnostic with 98% accuracy and that tests for drug resistance at the same time. This would attack a top cause of tuberculosis, the patients whose TB is missed by the test and who don't get treated, and who keep spreading the disease, including XDR-TB. Within this decade, we also hope to introduce new antibiotics that the bacterium has never seen before and for which there is no resistance. These drugs can become part of standard first-line treatment for everyone with TB, whether they have XDR-TB or not. And that would simplify the treatment of even the drug resistance cases. No matter what drugs we use, though, of course, the bacterium will develop resistance, which is why it's important that we keep the drug pipeline full at the same time as working on a vaccine. Over the next 4 years, we'll have results from vaccine trials that could show us a far more effective vaccine, which would be a critical advance in the fight against TB. So there's a great future of innovation ahead of us. But if we don't keep spending on research, that future won't come. It can be hard to make these investments, particularly in a time of economic difficulty. We need to weigh the investment against the return. My commitment to this research comes from my experience in software, and I'm convinced that the lesson there applies here as well. The best money invested, whether by a corporation, a government, or a foundation, is finding inexpensive ways to prevent costly problems. The return can be astronomical. Our foundation's fight against infectious disease came out of a question my Melinda and I began to explore 10 years ago. We asked ourselves where a dollar of funding can have the biggest impact in saving and improving people's lives. We believe that tuberculosis, given the scale of the problem, the rising urgency, and the opportunities for innovations, is one of the best investments in the world today if you want to improve people's lives.